Yes, please come in. Hello, I am Elise, your local wise woman. I just established myself in this humble village a few days ago, so excuse my disheveled appearance. Thank you for visiting me, because in our modern times, people like to think that academically trained male physicians are, well, more qualified to treat people, to heal people, really, when in fact it is the natural responsibility of women and wives to do so. So thank you for coming. I have here some sort of chart, and I am going to ask you a few questions. As you know, this is a sleep clinic, so in order to help you sleep better, I need to ask you a few questions, if that is okay with you. My teeth? Oh no, they're just rotten, that's all. That's why they look bizarre. Don't worry, it's not contagious. Although most things are in our modern age, I might say so. Which order do you belong to? Those who pray, those who fight, those who labor. Those who labor, like most of us. Very well. Oh, I came here because living in the city has just become completely insane. Paris grew about tenfold in the recent years. I don't know what's going on. So, what is your occupation? So, are you a merchant, a carpenter, salesman, weaver, a juggler, a server, a painter, food seller? Really, there's quite a number of different jobs now. Oh, okay. It is a common belief that in the countryside everyone is an impoverished serf, meaning that, most people are just peasant tied to their land. But that is not true. So, moving on. How long do you sleep every night? And I will need the number of hours of your first sleep and of your second sleep, because as you know, in our modern times, we sleep twice. We have a first sleep that is commonly during or from 9 p.m. to 2 a.m. Then we wake up, have a bit of a break from sleeping, I might say, and then we sleep again for our second sleep, even though it is advised to sleep longer when you're a child. So, first sleep, okay. Second sleep, okay. Yes, it's not bad at all. When you wake up during your first sleep and your second sleep, it is advised to use that time to say prayers, between 2 and 3 a.m., which is called the matin. Some people like to study, some other people like to have sex at that time. It's a very good time to fornicate, I might say. People are somehow more lively. Excuse me, my English is as impoverished as the serfs around here. So, yes. Do you lie on your right side, on your left side, on your belly, on your back? this is actually very important because I have some piece of advice as well. Okay. So I would say that lying on your right side during the first sleep is the best. Then when it comes to the second sleep, I would recommend you to lie on your left side just to keep some sort of balance. Yes. And how old are you? I know the dreaded question. Okay. Well, you're still quite young. I mean, the average life expectancy for men is 24 years old, and for women it is 33. So you still have quite a few good years ahead of you. So, yes, do you read at night before going to sleep? I'm sorry, I forgot to ask you, can you read? Because most people can't, especially in these little villages. So, oh, you can read. You are an educated peasant, I see. Very well, so what do you read? The Bible. Yes, that is actually quite a good idea. So, the Bible, yes. I mean, you could read other things. There are works from, long ago that were translated by authors and contemporary translators. I would recommend the works by Aristotle and other classical authors that were actually brought to us by Arabic philosophers, if you are interested. I mean, it is true that our age, as modern as it is, can seem like it is not, well, it seems like people are not very open-minded, and all they can talk about is religion. But trust me, there are other things that you can read. Do you travel? Travel is very good for sleep, but if you tend to travel a lot, it can, affect the way you sleep. I mean, by traveling, do you go on pilgrimage? Because it is the trend of nowadays. Yes, very well. If you don't have the financial means to travel, you can read about travels. I would recommend you a book, a journal rather, called Journey to the Eastern Part of the World by William of Rubruck. It describes his 3-year journey across the Eastern world, like it says, in Ukraine and Russia, even though Ukraine and Russia are not called Ukraine and Russia today, so you probably have no idea what I'm talking about. But moving on, have you had any diseases in the past? I'm sure you have. I mean, who hasn't? And you survived. That's great. So, first of all, I will check your skin, if that's okay, to see if you have Black Death, because as you know, it is a common disease that is killing 1/3 of our population, so I need to check for that. Then I will make you an ointment that you'll put on your forehead at night before sleeping, and that will provide you with some sort of delightful fever that will help you sleep. And then I will give you some advice on how to survive in this modern world, what to avoid if you don't want to die of a sudden death, which is frankly the worst. And we will try some triggers, light triggers, wood triggers, these sorts of things that you probably never heard of, because I'm quite a pioneer in this sleep clinic thingy that is, I'm sure, going to boom, explode at some point, but for now no one has really heard of it. So can I get closer and touch your skin? Oh, sorry, consent has not been invented yet, so I'm just gonna go ahead and touch here to see if you have any lumps. Okay. Oh, nice and smooth. You don't seem to have anything. Now, I'm gonna feel the skin around the nose like so. Interesting. You seem to be well formed. It is not the case for most of our neighbors, as you have noticed, so no extra limb, no extra lump. Everything seems to be in order. Now I'm going to gently press on your lips like this. Don't worry, it's not gonna hurt at all. Just shush. Very well. Now I'm going to press against your temple and gently massage in a, what is it called? Clockwise, something. Okay, forget I say that. I'm just gonna massage it. I'm very sorry, my grasp of English has become completely. I need to go to Wessex again, or Northumbria, just to train my English. Okay. Now, very quickly, I'm just gonna check your eyes, and see if your sight is not too bad. I know that most of us are blind. Glasses don't exist yet, so I just need to check. So I'm just gonna ask you to follow my finger. Very well. Very well. You know how to count, I presume, since you know how to read. Okay. How many fingers? Very well. 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 Okay. Very well. Let me write down all of that first. Very well. Now, as you know, Black Death is spreading like wildfire, so we have to be extra careful when it comes to healing and touching each other. So, yes. Well, the first signs of the plague are usually little lumps under the arm, in the armpit, and livid black dots all over the face, the skin. You know, you don't appear to have any signs of it, but you can never be too careful. So I'm just gonna check your armpit and take a closer look at your skin. If you were in fact infected with the Black Death, I am afraid I can't do anything for you, considering you would die within the week, but I would at least make sure you sleep well until death comes. So, can you lift up your arm? Okay. The other arm. No lump at all. You should be fine. And I'm going to inspect your skin. So, I'm going to ask you to come closer. Okay. That's not. Oh, that's a birthmark. Okay. Kind of looked like, but if it's just a birthmark, it's okay. What is this? Okay. Well, it is common to be incredibly disfigured in our modern days. Very well. You seem to be fine. So, Black Death, check. Check. Very well. Now, as you know, doctors these days like to what is called bleeding, like they bleed their patients with leeches. I myself, I'm not quite okay with that specific treatment. I feel like it only weakens the patient, so I don't do bleedings, and it doesn't seem like you need any. I think you're probably just suffering from insomnia. So herbal drinks and magic stones should do the trick. Oh yes, I am confident I can sell you some magic stones because we're still in the Middle Ages. The witch hunt hasn't quite started yet, so I'm completely free to do medicine as a wise woman. You know, I have actually heard that in other cultures they treat people differently. I heard, for example, that Arab doctors like to treat the wounds, whereas, our doctors here, they like to cut the limb if anything is infected. I think these are extreme measures, so I'm very interested in learning what's out there. Now, do you suffer from malnutrition? I can see you're quite skinny. Oh, you're just poor and starving. Okay. Then in that case, I will provide you with 3 eggs and a bit of bread. That's all I can offer. Unfortunately, I just started my clinic, so I don't have much money. I don't have much here, but that's the least I can provide you with. And after a good meal, you should be able to sleep better. So, yes, famine is one of the most common ways to die. Childbirth can also be very, very dangerous, which is why I've never given birth to anyone, because I wouldn't want to risk my life. Now, I would recommend you stay away from the tavern, simply because these days there are many brawls, many fights, and a lot of vassals rebel against their lords. So you could, be injured or actually die in street violence, basically. So I would advise you to stay away from the tavern. Besides, ale is not very good for your health, so I would advise you to stay away from everything that is alcoholic. Yes. Another thing that could kill you and therefore prevent you from sleeping is heresy. Yes, going against the teaching of the Christian church could be deadly. So I'd recommend you keep on reading the Bible like a good Christian, and you don't talk to people of another faith, especially, who is enemy number 1 right now? Pretty much anyone who's not a Christian. Yes, just be wary of the Orthodox and all these people. Now, hunting is also quite dangerous, but this would only apply to people from the aristocracy or from the nobility, the royalty. Considering the fact that you are a peasant, I doubt you have the luxury to hunt. Although if you do find yourself in a position where you'll be able to hunt, be careful, because it is a very common way to die as well. You could just fall off your horse and crush your head on the saddle or something of that taste. So yes, plague, check. Tuberculosis is also a very common way of dying. Malnutrition, we've established that you're just starving like most of the population. Warfare, Thankfully, we are not at war at the moment, or at least our village is not involved in any war. Sickness, yes. That's basically everything that I needed to check with you. What do you eat for breakfast if you have time to eat? Oh, okay. So I heard that peasants wake up at 3 a.m. and start working around 3:30 or 4. So is that true for you? Right. So you actually only have time to sleep for your first sleep. You don't have time to sleep for the second sleep. Well, I mean, Benedictine monks are only allowed to sleep once as well, you know. Some orders are quite strict. So yes. You eat some potage, some sort of soup, yes. And you work in the field, reaping, plowing, haymaking, hedging, all of these things. It sounds very tiring, so I feel like you don't need to work out, since you're basically working out all the time. Yes, very well. So now I'm gonna ask you to try and relax, even though we've been talking about rather upsetting subjects such as ways to die. So I'm gonna ask you to just relax, and I'm going to try some light trigger on you. Considering lights, electric light has not been invented yet, we'll be using a candle of my own making. Okay, I will ask you to follow the light. You don't need to look at me. You just need to follow the light. So okay. Don't worry, I'm not going to burn you. Very well. Just follow the light. Okay. How does it feel? Do you feel calm? Are you afraid of the fire? Well, that's rare. Most people are commonly afraid of the water, which is why they don't take baths, which is, well, helping my business because I also make perfumes. So if you don't want to stink, you'll come to me to buy some herbs. Okay. Now, I'm going to ask you to concentrate on this light. Just look at it. Concentrate on the flame and think of a place where you feel safe. I understand that you freed yourself from your lord and that you are now the proud owner of a land. Very well. Well, that's some accomplishment, isn't it? Well, just think of your house or your farm, wherever you live, if that's a safe place for you. Now I want you to close your eyes as I blow this candle out. And I want you to just listen to the sound of the flutters of my fingers. Think of the Black Death no more. There is only a 30% chance that you'll die of it. You'll most likely die in a tavern brawl if you don't follow my advice. Or maybe of hunger if the winter is hard. So you don't need to worry about the plague. let's try some trigger. I have some wood here, and I'm going to tap on it, as I have noticed that people like these sorts of tapping sounds when it comes to relaxing. So just listen to the fast tapping sounds. The slow tapping sound. And it goes fast again. Now let's try some other sounds. I just want you to relax and concentrate on the sounds. And now we will move on to some glass tapping. These are dried oranges. No, actually they're dried lemons, sorry. That I dried myself for my herbal concoction. You know, people with money, rich people from the nobility, they wouldn't come to me for advice. They would come to real doctors, people who studied in Bologna or in Paris, people who studied in Italy and have some sort of certification. Men, of course, they would never trust a woman. But I hold, in fact, some sort of truth when it comes to healing. Well, of course, because I know magic, but also because I'm very interested in what's outside of our country, our culture. I'm very interested in other ways of healing. I don't think that cutting a leg can actually save your life or heal you. You need to take care of yourself in here as well. Now, let's try some of this. This is just a container I use to carry water in the morning. I use it to wash my face. Yes, I'm not afraid of water. I think water is good for you, but many would say otherwise. people are just so afraid of discovering what's out there. But if you follow my advice, you should live long enough and sleep well. Now, I will write a prescription for you, so please take some notes if you can write. Otherwise, I'm just gonna write it for you. You told me you could read, so okay. So I will recommend you the making of an ointment, which I don't have myself right now because, as you know, I just established myself in the village, so I don't have much. So I'll explain to you how to make it, and then you can make it yourself. It's fairly easy. You'll need an equal amount of radish, bishop wood, garlic, wormwood, helenium, crop leek, and hollow leek, sorry. Now, you pound them up. You pound them up real hard. You boil them in butter, which I know is expensive, but you'll need it. You'll boil it in butter with celandine and net needle. Then you'll have to, mash it together and stir and stir and stir until it has a dark red color. Then you can just smear a bit on the forehead, a bit on your temple, a bit on your neck, and go to sleep. And it should have a soothing effect. So here is the prescription. I'm sure you can find most of these products in your field. And if you miss anything, feel free to come here. Now, I am afraid we have to part ways because I have another client here for my services. So I'll wish you good luck. Try not to die and try to sleep soundly. Even though I know because of your work you can't sleep for the second sleep, try and have a good first sleep. Don't interrupt it. And if you find yourself interrupting your own sleep, if you find yourself waking up at night, just use this time to do productive things such as Bible reading or having sex with your spouse. Yes, very well. Goodbye then. God bless you.